All right, so let's do this. So yes, it seems like CD Projekt Red is abandoning something that many of you are actually upset by. How could they just abandon this? We're going to dive deep into this one here in just a moment. Plus, we're going to be talking about Cyberpunk in 2023, by far the most critical year for Cyberpunk because of that big expansion that we'll be releasing in the first half of 2023. Can Cyberpunk survive 2023? I'm going to explain in just a moment why Cyberpunk is going to be having a major uphill battle in 2023. Plus, could we see a Johnny Silverhand first-person shooter? We're going to talk about an interesting article that was recently posted. But yeah, first and foremost, we have to start here. Check this out. It says Starfield and Redfall delayed to the first half of 2023. And trust me, I believe this is only the very beginning for games to be heading from 2022 and delayed to 2023. So I was totally gutted that Starfield was delayed until 2023, not only because I want to play Starfield in 2022, but also I wanted to have more time between games, between Starfield and then, of course, the big expansion for Cyberpunk 2077. And I am sure that the delay for Starfield has made CD Projekt Red very nervous about the release of their expansion. They're going to have to figure out a way to time this really, really well for that expansion, unless they're so confident that they've made something absolutely staggering and amazing that it's going to completely catch people by surprise. Then that's a different story. But I think a lot of people are going to be paying attention to Starfield in 2023. I'm honestly bummed that has happened. But yeah, we have another one here. This is a rumor. It says Hogwarts Legacy delayed, according to Insider. This is another one that I am really looking forward to. It's not in the same realm as Cyberpunk. It's not a sci-fi game. It's more dark fantasy. So I do think it's going to have its own audience. And even if it does release in 2023, I still think Cyberpunk can actually survive against it with that big expansion, because it's kind of like a different audience, if you understand what I mean. With Starfield, however, it still feels very futuristic. It's going to have some Cyberpunk themes in it. They actually call it NASA punk art style in this one, but they do have those neon dystopian type cities in Starfield that I do believe will draw a Cyberpunk type crowd for sure and be a direct competitor to Cyberpunk no matter what. However, with Hogwarts Legacy, I do have to mention this right here. Following new delay claims, an official Hogwarts Legacy update reiterates 2022 release plans. The open world RPG was originally planned to arrive last year. Wow, so it's already been delayed once. And yeah, could it be heading to 2023? I'll let you guys know what happens with that one. That would be a big bummer because, yeah, I still do, in some sense, consider it drawing a crowd away from Cyberpunk, of course. But another one right here, check this out. It says, every sign that points towards God of War Ragnarok being delayed again. A general lack of new information surrounding God of War Ragnarok has given rise to the idea that it could be receiving another delay and release in 2023. And the game director himself has made a recent video saying, we'll be done when we're done. And that was kind of like, for me personally, a little bit of a red flag that perhaps, yes, God of War Ragnarok would be heading into 2023. Yet another game that could potentially draw away the audience away from Cyberpunk expansion, of course. So there's a lot going on. And I could tell you what, I bet CD Projekt Red is a little bit nervous right now about releasing their expansion in 2023. Now, I've seen a comment recently in one of my videos saying that, hey, you know what? Now that Starfield has been delayed into 2023, CD Projekt Red needs to push it. They need to get their expansion out by January 2023. And I partially agree with this statement, but at the same time, I would never, ever want to have more crunch on the dev team, and I would not want them rushing out anything, even if they're going against stiff competition. That's just my personal opinion. I think they really need to stand on 2 feet and release the best expansion they can possibly, despite it being very crowded in 2023. But let me tell you what, 2023 is going to be one hell of a year for video games. Now we need to talk about CD Projekt Red abandoning this right here. Literally what you are seeing, which is the Red Engine 2, not Cyberpunk, not the franchise, but check this out. It says, the future of Red Engine. It seems like a lot of people are concerned. It says, if they are going to switch everything to Unreal 5, are they going to open source Red Engine? It would be a good move, possibly so good that the community would make it a significant rival to the existing top tier engines. Just a thought. So yeah, a lot of people seem to be kind of confused and upset that, hey, it seems like the entire time that CD Projekt Red has been around, they've been developing this Red Engine with multiple versions, and now it's like absolutely amazing. Why would they ever abandon it? So there's many different reasons for that, but let's get into this right here. But let me tell you what, before I get into this, I want to say that what they do with Unreal Engine 5, I'm sure is going to be absolutely amazing for The Witcher. And yes, I do believe that they will be using that for Cyberpunk 2. But check this out. This comes from Grim Reaper 801, who says, no one said they're switching everything forever to Unreal Engine 5. The next Witcher game is going to be made using Unreal Engine 5. That is all we know. Could very well be that CD Projekt Red will be updating its own engine and they'll come back with it for the next Cyberpunk game. Who knows? It is way too early to say they're moving on from it, and it is never going open source. I don't think it will ever go open source. And also, you have to consider that, yes, they're going to want to do parallel development between Witcher and Cyberpunk 2. So I do think that we won't be seeing Red Engine 2 after the expansion is released for Cyberpunk 2077. I think that they are going to be moving on from it. And there's some other people that actually agree with me on this. Check this out. Here we have, seriously answering your question, I would say that Red Engine has no future. The postponement of the expansion of Cyberpunk 2077 to 2023, which will bring the game's death during this waiting process, and the absolutely meaningless indefinition of The Witcher 3 Next Gen denote that the company does not see a future in a commercial sense for this graphics engine. My opinion, and of course, we'll never admit it, they are going all in on Unreal Engine 5. And I totally agree with that last statement. They're going to go all in on this Unreal Engine 5 engine because they've also partnered with Epic Games. They're interested also in adding multiplayer functionality to their games. And guess who has that type of access? Epic Games will give them just that. The Unreal Engine has that capability. Right now, they do not want to develop multiplayer for Red Engine 2. It's just too much of a hassle. Then we have North World, I believe it is, or Wold, who says the Epic partnership on Unreal is for 15 years, renewable. CD Projekt's own management board report on the account states that they have shelved Red Engine research and development on multiplayer because Unreal 4 and 5 both include multiplayer function. Yes, exactly. Beyond Cyberpunk, I wouldn't expect to see future development of the engine. Commercially, it doesn't make any sense to get nostalgic. If you have any engine that can be made to work with what you want to do and can already do many of the things you want to do better than your own engine does them, continuously reinventing the wheel to try to keep up is a waste of time and money and a fool's errand. Part of Epic's business is literally licensing the Unreal Engine. They have dedicated teams who do nothing but the engine. CD Projekt Red had to build and maintain the Red Engine in its entirety purely to make their own games. It sounds fairly close to a no-brainer. And they've lost a lot of veteran staff that knows Red Engine 2, and you got to consider if they have newcomers on board, training becomes more difficult. And then another wrinkle in this story, which I'm curious about, is you have to remember that they had that massive leak at CD Projekt Red. Their source code is out in the open, which I'm sure they do not appreciate or like, and I'm thinking that might be something that made them decide to go over to Unreal Engine 5 as well. All right, so we have to talk about this subject as well. This is an article that I recently discovered. Check it out right here. You guys have got to give me an opinion on this one. It says, forget Cyberpunk. Here's why Johnny Silverhand deserves his own game. I never really even thought about this, but it sounds interesting. Here's what it says right here. Hands down, the best thing about Cyberpunk is Johnny Silverhand, the character played by Keanu Reeves, who resides in the protagonist's mind. He's witty, charismatic, and drives the plot thanks to being the most layered thing in the whole game. Now, everyone is subjective about that, of course, and some people would actually disagree with that statement. Some people didn't care for Johnny Silverhand, found him to be too crass, rude, and just a horrible person overall. Some people really like him. Some people found him funny. But then we have this. It says right here, as I mentioned, in a few rare sequences, you even play as him, and he's basically a super soldier with a dirty, hairy magnum that can kill almost anyone or thing that dares stand in his way. I loved these segments. He's basically the character many of us thought Dukem Nukem was back when we were sweet summer children, before we truly understood satire. Yeah, those segments really worked well, but the question is, should they be fully fleshed out game? It says, what I'm saying is Johnny Silverhand, the chaddest of the chads, deserves his own first-person shooter game. Imagine seeing that silver arm on the screen for the length of an 8-hour-long first-person shooter game. It could be in the style of Doom Eternal, where he wages war as a one-man army, to a blistering heavy rock soundtrack. Hell, you can even add in guitar playing sequences where Johnny jams with his band Samurai. Yeah, that would actually be cool. And it makes me wonder again what Molasses Flood is working on. And if you don't know who Molasses Flood is, they are a studio that was purchased by CD Projekt Red. They're working on something in either the Cyberpunk or Witcher realm, I guess you would say. It would be interesting to see them kind of hire a development team to work on different spin-off games from their core game, like a first-person shooter here, cooperative style game here. I don't know. I think that sort of thing is always interesting to tap into, as long as it doesn't take away from the core development studio, of course. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments from my most recent video. Let's do this. So my most recent video was about this right here. CD Projekt Red responds, yes, that just happened. All new update. So, as you guys may remember, there was that Unreal Engine 5 fan-made Cyberpunk, tech demonstration. You can find that on my channel. Of course, I did a video about it, but it seems like some of the people at CD Projekt Red, or people that used to work at CD Projekt Red as well, were not very happy with some of the articles claiming that Unreal tech demonstration was better than what they actually created. So let's see what you guys had to say about this right now. So first of all, we have Circa Rob, I believe it is. Says, I'm happy with the environment, just want more to do. More specifically, after areas or quests are completed, many of them become gated off or empty trees, turning to zones often feels empty and lifeless without quests. Fixable if they add even little things. Did us to do or interact with. An example I saw was eating or drinking animations, mini games, lore, interactions, etc. A lot of you guys want to see that. Those little tiny interactions, like just even being able to sit down during important moments. Bastian74 says, I have about 150 hours in Cyberpunk, and I honestly love everything about the game, but it is so obvious that things weren't properly fleshed out, mechanics and locations omitted, etc. I just want the full vision of this game, what was spoken about and explained in earlier press releases, to finally be realized within this world. Once that happens, I could easily put another 150 hours in. I think the only way that's going to happen is with two things. Update 1.6, and of course, we have the expansion. So I think the expansion might be its own thing. A lot of you guys want to see the expansion take place in Night City. Again, we'll have to wait and see if that's going to be the case. Imran says the following. I have mixed feelings about Night City. I played it with RT on, ray tracing on, when it launched, and it's a visual masterpiece, but sometimes I feel even the city is lacking because of everything else missing. You have that slums area off the highway, and it's empty. The city just feels dead. It's like they create a brilliant world to explore, and then they pull you out of it. Not bugs, but just general immersion breaking things. Yeah. It was almost too ambitious for the size of the team. The team size was half of what Rockstar was working with, and they're trying to basically, my personal opinion, compete directly with Rockstar and what they are doing with GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. So that's a lot of work for that many people, and they just need more people working on this game and more money for the actual development process, less money for the marketing. That's just my personal take on that. But yeah, it's a shame how it turned out at launch. But right now, again, I'm still kind of excited for the foreseeable future of this game. It's a shame that we have this whole weird situation with Unreal Engine 5. I'm definitely excited for it, but that also is telling me at some point, yes, at some point they will likely walk away from Cyberpunk, especially when they go full on development with both The Witcher 4 and Cyberpunk 2. That's when you would expect them to really tone back the updates for Cyberpunk 2077. But anyway, there it is, the latest happenings for Cyberpunk 2077. I will keep you guys in the know about what happens with patch 1.6. They're working on stuff in the back end for this game. We could be seeing that patch drop here, I don't know, any moment in the next month or two. That's my assessment of the situation. But thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.